Okay. So let's look at number 1. It says find the measure of the indicated angle. Dylan, will you do me a huge favor and shut off the light? Please and thank you. So find the measure of the indicated angle. So here we go. I'm going to use the triangle sum theorem, which says that if I add up the insides of all the triangle angles, they have to equal 180. So 65 plus 57 plus x equals 180. So you should be filling these out on your notes. 65 plus 57 is 111.22 plus x equals 180. Subtract 122 from both sides, and I think I find out that x equals 58 degrees. Okay. Questions about that? Sir. Okay. Number 2 was part of the video. And number 2, in the video, I did an X and a Y. Number 2, I did the X and then the Y because I wanted to find this outside measure. So the first thing I did was I knew that if this was 35, this was 35 because of vertical angles. Again, I went through this in the video. And we learned what vertical angles were yesterday. 35 plus 100 is 135. When I subtract that from 180, I find out that this angle right here is 45. And then this makes a linear pair. Okay. These are posted, filled out, just so you know. I also did in your video example number 3 yesterday. We know that a right angle has a measure of 90 degrees. So 40 plus 90 plus x has to equal 180. So x equals 50. I did not do number 4. So let's do this one together. So I'm going to call this missing angle right here x. Set it up for me, Jack, please. Vanessa, pick your head up. What am I doing, Jack? Adding all the what? Adding all the angles. 120, 130 plus x. And what do they all add up to? 180. Okay. So that gives me 150 plus x equals 180. When I subtract 150 from both sides, what do I get? X equals 30 degrees. Okay. X equals 30. Close your Chromebook. Thank you. Next one. So I have this one. We're going to call this missing angle what? X. I'm going to freeze the screen. You guys are going to set it up and solve it. I mean, this should not be hard. You actually learned the triangle sum theorem in 6th grade. Set it up. Quali, did you get it? What'd you set up, Quali? I said, what'd you set it up? How'd you set it up? Perfect. And what'd you get? God bless you. That's what I got. X equals 45. Does that make sense? Okay. So, question.
Not really. It's just like all I did was subtract.
All you did what?
All I did was subtract 85 and 50 from 180.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. We're taking.
I know, but it was just set up. I set mine up different.
Okay. You did 180 minus 55, or 180 minus 85 minus 55. It's the same thing, right? Okay. So we didn't learn about like triangles like this, but we really did. What does this make right here? This line. 2 angles together, 2 adjacent angles form a what? 180. They're called a linear pair. So these two angles together equal 180. So 180 minus 55 is 25. So these two angles together plus this angle make a triangle. So Chandler, I'll do it the way that you do it. 180 minus 25 minus 60 equals X. So what is that? Yeah, 95 equals X. Okay. But these also make a linear pair, meaning these two have to add up to 180. So 180 minus 95 equals 85. So our missing angle measure right there is 85 degrees. Questions about that? Okay. This should be kind of a nice break from what we've been doing. Like, it's just nice to kind of have to add and subtract things instead of doing anything crazy. No factoring involved, right? I did number 2 in your video. I did number 2 because this is kind of more algebraic. Same concept, but more algebraic. So I'm going to jump over to this second one. Who feels like they can set this up for me? Quali, go ahead. Yeah. So 70 and 60 is 130 plus 2, 132 plus 8x equals 180. What are we going to do next? Yeah, subtract 132 from both sides. So 8x equals 48, x equals 6. Your brain's just faster than my hand. That's fine. That's good. Okay. Questions? Are you guys understanding what we're doing? Do you guys feel okay about this? Charlie, how do you feel about this? This is great. Just plug it into a calculator, right? Subtract, subtract, subtract. Okay, so I did this one. In your video. Same idea. We're going to add them all together and solve for X. But not only do we have to find out what X is, we have to figure out the measure of angle A. We have to solve for the measure of the angle. So once I do that, I have to take X and plug my value in. So -7 plus 51 is 44. So the measure of angle A is 44. So let's look at the next one. So tell me some things that I know. What are some measurements that I can fill out? What do I know about this right here? It's 180. So 180 minus 130 is 50. So this is 50 degrees right here. You guys feel okay with that? What do I know about this and this? What do I know about these two spots right here? Didn't we talk about vertical angles yesterday? Yeah. So vertical angles are congruent. I know I said that in your video. Vertical angles are congruent. So if this side here is 8x plus 4, then this is also 8x plus 4. So when I set it up, I have 3x minus 6 plus 8x plus 4 plus the 50 equals 180. So 3x and 8x, that gives me 11x. 54 minus 6 is 48 equals 180. I'm going to subtract 48 from both sides. 11x equals 132. When I divide both sides by 11, I find out that x equals 12. But I'm not done. I'm not done. Why? What's it asking me to find? The measure of angle A. I don't know who whispered that very quietly, but I heard you. Measure of angle A, which is 3x minus 6, or 3 times 12 minus 6. So what is the measure of angle A? Yeah, it's 30 degrees. The measure of angle A is 30 degrees. Okay. The 48, I took 50 plus 4 minus 6. 50 plus 4, I combine like terms. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So in Delta Math, they were putting all the variable terms first. I'll try to write it like that. Are you guys okay with that one? Okay. Next page. What is this right here? It's 90 degrees. So I actually cheat when I have a right angle. I cheat when I have a right angle because I know that 180 minus 90 is what? It's 90. So I just set it up as 90 equals, and I only add up the other two sides. Is that going to mess you guys up when I think about it like that? Yeah? Okay, I'll write it out the regular way. So 90 plus x plus 37 plus x plus 67 equals 180. Or 180 minus 90 is 90. So these two angles have to add up to 90. And that's what I do. My two x's, 90 plus 37 is 127 plus 67 is 194 equals 180. Subtract 194 from both sides, and I find out that 2x equals negative 14, which means that x equals negative 7. But I'm trying to find the measure of angle A. So the measure of angle A equals x plus 37, but x is negative 7. So the measure of angle A is what? It's 30. Okay, I'm going to go to the next one. So someone tell me some things that they know. What's something that you know? Huh? One of the angles is 80. Okay, I have an 80-degree angle measure. What else do I know? I have a what? Where's 180 degrees? 4x plus 17 doesn't equal 180. What? These two corners equal 180? Oh, this corner right here, these two things are congruent to each other? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Yeah. Why is that? They're called vertical what? They're called vertical angles. Vertical angles are made when two lines intersect, right? So now I can add all of this up and set it equal to 180. So 4x plus 17 plus x plus 23 plus 80 equals 180. So 4x and 1x equal 5x. 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. When I subtract 120 from both sides, what do I get? 5x equals 60. Divide both sides by 5. I find out that x equals 12. Again, it's not enough to know what x is. I have to figure out the measure of angle A. So the measure of angle A equals x plus 23, which is 12 plus 23. So the measure of angle A is 35 degrees. Measure of angle A is 35 degrees. So once we learned, hopefully, once we learned what the measure of, like once you solved a couple of triangles, that leads us to, ladies, listen up front, please. So this leads us to the exterior angle theorem, which says that the measure of an exterior angle is equal to the two non-adjacent interior angles. And so I'm going to draw a picture and try to help make sense of that. So I'm going to put numbers on the inside. I'm going to call this angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, and angle 4. So this is the exterior angle. The non-adjacent, meaning the two angles that don't touch this angle, the two angles that don't touch this angle are what? Angles 1 and angle 2. They are called non-adjacent. And sometimes you see them as remote interior. Sometimes they're called remote interior because they're not touching the exterior angle. Okay. So what this says is that the measure of this outside angle, so the measure of angle 4 equals the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2. Why is that? Well, let's think about it really fast. I know that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 equals 180. That's just the interior angle sum theorem, right? But I also know that if I have a linear pair, the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 equals 180. And I know that back in my Math 1 days, I learned how to use substitution, right? If this whole thing equals 180 and this whole thing equals 180, then those two things equal each other. It's just like saying the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 equals y. It's the same concept. So really the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 equals the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4. Because this equals 180 and this equals 180. So that means they equal each other. But if I were to try and simplify this, suppose I wanted to just subtract the measure of angle 3 from both sides. What does that leave me with? Well, that leaves me with the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 4. And that is the exterior angle theorem. God bless you. That's exactly what we wrote right here. The exterior angle equals the sum of the two remote interiors or the non-adjacent interiors. So we're going to use that idea. We're going to use that idea and simplify or solve for the missing angle. Are we ready? Okay. So in this first example, I'm going to call this X. And I'm going to highlight my outside angle. This is my exterior angle. What two angles don't touch that at all? Well, this one and this one. They're non-adjacent. So what does that mean? Well, that means 120 equals X plus 50. Dylan, pick your head up and pick your pencil up. We're not taking a nap. Come on, let's go. So now what am I going to do? That says X plus 50. What's the undo of plus? So subtract 50 from both sides. 120 minus 50 is 70. 70 equals X. And that's it. Charlie, pick your head up. Just pick it up. I know. I just want your guys' heads up. When your heads are down on your arm or whatever, you're tempted to fall asleep. So who feels like they can set up number 2? Paula, you got it? Okay. Jimmy, do any highlighting or anything? Yeah, 115 equals x plus 50. So 65 equals x. How do we feel about that? Okay. So your homework for tonight is pages 6 and 7. Your homework for tonight is pages 6 and 7. All of page 6 and all of page 7. Your Delta Math is not due until the 8th of November, which I believe is next Wednesday. November 8th is next Wednesday. And I want to tell you, my son flew in yesterday. That's why I was not here. My son came home. So he's stationed in Washington State right now. And so I'm taking tomorrow and Friday off because his submarine is decommissioning, but he's going to get sent back out to the Middle East. And we just aren't going to be able to see him for a while. I do.
Well, you're not gonna
Miss
be here tomorrow?
Glover's. It's Miss Glover's mom.
Going to Washington State.
No, we flew him home. So he only gets 5 days. He gets 5 days leave.
Well, I don't know where.
Okay, so it's Mrs. Williams, and she was a math teacher here forever. So she knows that I've got videos posted, but I'll leave her a note, Polly, that says, listen, I'm gonna leave her a note that says, you do better. She will be happy. She really wanted to teach, so she will be happy to come and sit by you and explain stuff. Okay, she is very nice. Yeah. Is she a little grumpy?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
That's my favorite kids.
Some people were being like,
Some people were being ridiculous yesterday.
yeah.
Why is that surprising? So I want to explain this to you really fast. So this is how she's going to keep track of what you're doing, and I'm going to keep track of what you're doing. So this is I called it the Math 2 agenda sheet. It's just for Thursday and Friday. So every day, who wants to pass these out for me? Jacob, you're amazing. Make sure everybody gets one, okay? So every day that I'm not here, which is basically just Thursday and Friday,